So, good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining our Advancing Disability Equality Award webinar. This award was proudly sponsored by Aon on that amazing night last month in the Clayton Hotel, Burlington Road. My name is James Cawley, and I'm the Business Development Manager at the Irish Centre for Diversity. To self-describe, I am a disabled white Irish man. I have brown hair with touches of grey, and I'm wearing a black shirt with brown buttons. I'm sitting in my powered wheelchair with a white backdrop behind me with Irish Centre for Diversity branding. As you know, recently we held the National Diversity and Inclusion Awards 2025 to recognise and celebrate the progress and valuable work being done to advance D&I in Ireland. This webinar series was created again this year to share the insights and experiences from the sponsor, winner, and finalists in each category so that any learnings can be applied to your organisation or help with entering the next award cycle. As I said, today's session focuses on the category of advancing disability equality, and this category was sponsored by Aon. This is Aon's third time as sponsors of this category at the National Diversity and Inclusion Awards since its inception in 2023. It is important to say at this point that Aon, like any other sponsor and the Irish Centre for Diversity, had no part in the judging process and couldn't enter themselves. On to the running order now. I will soon pass you over to the award sponsor, and then we'll hear from some of the finalists and end with the award winner wrapping up within the hour. Some housekeeping this morning. We're joined by Catherine White, our ISL interpreter. The session has been recorded and will be available on the Irish Centre for Diversity website in the coming days. Everyone is on mute except the panel, and please do say hello and where you're zooming in from this morning or share comments in the chat function. We'd love to hear which organisations you're joining us from too. With packed agenda, there isn't time for Q&A. However, I do know some of our panel will share their LinkedIn profiles, so you might get connecting on there to keep the conversation going. Now, enough from me. Without further ado, I'm very pleased to introduce our host for today's session, Oisín O'Gogain, Chief People Officer at Aon, who will shine a light on their organisation's EDI advances and lead what is sure to be an enlightening conversation. Over to you, Oisín. Thank you.
Good morning. Thanks, James. And good morning to everybody who has joined us today. Just a quick check. You can all hear and see me okay before I kick off? Good. Nods are good. It's a real pleasure to be here again. I looked at the diary on Friday and couldn't believe it's another year since we were last here having a similar discussion. Maybe just a quick intro about me. So my name is Oisín, and thank you, James, for the intro. My role is Chief People Officer for a pretty significant part of Aon, which is a global company in the area of risk and people consulting. So I currently lead a team across the UK, Ireland, which is probably about 8,000 colleagues. We're really proud to say that in the Irish part of our business, we are a gold accredited investor in diversity. So this is, as you said, James, the third year that we are sponsoring this particular award. And it's one that we are particularly proud of and really enjoy these opportunities to learn from each other. At Aon, we're really active in designing for diversity is a key part of my role and the role of our teams. So really looking forward to the discussion today. We have quite a few to get through in terms of updates and questions. So you can see the panelists here. I just give a quick hello to Caroline McGrotty from ESB, Carla Di Benito from Cook Medical, Deirdre Buckley from I Knew a Collection, Tony Kerwin from Circle K, and Natalie Keogh from Allianz. And our award winners today represented by Narcissa from the Ora Houlihan Group. So good morning to you all and looking forward to hearing from you. Catherine, you know I speak quite fast, so please tell me if you need me to slow down at any point in time. But without further ado, what I may do is kick off with Caroline Grotti from ESB. So Caroline, the judges were very impressed by ESB's positive action around inclusive recruitment and in particular the appointment of a dedicated access officer. Can you tell us a little bit about the mandatory online training that you have set up this year, and also a little bit about that access officer role? Also, please feel free to introduce yourself or mention anything else that you find relevant.
Okay, good morning. Thank you, Oisín. Good morning, everyone. My name is Caroline McGrosty, and I have a particular name sign that relates to the hair. I'm the accessibility specialist and access officer. I am deaf. I am disabled, a white woman in her mid-30s with long, straight brown hair. I'm wearing glasses, and today I'm wearing a green dress. I'm now going to switch over to English. Just a moment.
So I suppose many of you will already know ESB, but we were established almost 100 years ago. And I suppose the purpose of our business is to operate right across the electricity market. So this includes generation, transmission, distribution, and to supplying electricity to our customers. So as part of our Net Zero 2040 strategy, empowered people is actually one of our foundational pillars that underpins our strategic objectives. And I suppose what this means is that we want to ensure that we have the people capability to deliver on our objectives, but also to have a strong values-based and inclusive culture. So I've been asked to speak about my role as Access Officer and about our online training. So I'm first going to cover, I suppose, the role of the Access Officer. So I suppose many of you will probably know that under the Disability Act 2005, public bodies have to appoint an Access Officer. So ESB was actually one of the very first public bodies to actually appoint someone in that role. I suppose as part of that role under the Act, it does have a very specific remit, which is providing and coordinating guidance and assistance to disabled people in accessing that public body services and information. I suppose in ESB, we've actually expanded that role to be a little bit more. So for example, the Access Officer role also includes supporting employees and potential employees around identifying and implementing workplace support and reasonable accommodation. I suppose my role is also to kind of work across the entire company to ensure that we're kind of promoting and raising awareness of good accessibility practice. So this includes, liaising with the recruitment teams, communications, learning and development, property management, facilities management, and also with IT. So particularly in relation to the Web Accessibility Directive. I suppose another part of that role, and as a requirement as a public body, we have to meet a statutory obligation in terms of hiring people with disabilities. So very proud to say ESB has actually exceeded the 3% target the last number of years, and with the increase to 4.5% in 2024, we look set to also exceed that target. So we're very, very proud of that. I suppose part of my role as well is to liaise with different disability organisations on different initiatives. And one of those, as Oisín mentioned, is around positive action hiring. So since we started that programme in 2006, almost 175 people have been provided with paid employment. So that's people with disabilities. And recently, in November, we've actually launched a brand new webpage on ESB's corporate site and as well as our other brands around the role of the Access Officer. And this information is also available and translated into ISL, Irish Sign Language. So now I'm going to move on to talk about the online training. So in terms of the online training we rolled out, that was in relation to respect and dignity. So we rolled that out in 2024. And I suppose as part of that, we actually took a significant review of two of our company-wide policies. So that was the respect and dignity policy and also our reasonable accommodation and accessibility policy. So both of these are really important to make sure employees are aware of what's expected of them, but also aware of what supports are available to them. So to kind of coincide with the launch of these new reviewed policies, we developed online training. So this was self-paced, self-directed, and is fully accessible. The training was assigned to all ESB employees as mandatory, and it's also assigned to all of the new joiners that join ESB for after that. I suppose in the training, we really emphasize the importance of understanding difference and understanding the different ways of working, as well as promoting inclusive language. So in that module, we've taken a very UDL approach. So there's videos, you've got text, you've got images, you've also got activities and case studies or scenarios. And in one of those scenarios, we actually honed in and focused on disability and neurodivergence. So now I'm going to switch the slides. I suppose that.
So that is a whistle-stop tour of what it is ESB in doing this area. And if you're interested in finding out more information, you can, we have our first accessible report on our website so that you can read that in your own time and look at it, what it is to do. And you can, I will put the link in the chat. And thank you to the Irish Centre for Diversity for their support, and to all of you, my colleagues within ESB, for your support also. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Caroline, for those insights. I think you may be trendsetters when it comes to the establishment of the roles for, points of contact for access in any organization. I also love the training. It is true on-time, real-time training. That sounds like it's hugely relevant. So looking forward to hearing more about that. But thank you for the insight today. I'm now going to introduce Carla Di Benedetto. Carla, I know you're working at Cook Medical, and hopefully I have not butchered your name. Please correct me if I have mispronounced it. But thank you very much for joining us today. The judges in particularly loved the Campus to Career initiative that you have in Cook Medical, which is open to graduates with disabilities, and saw the organisation liaising with both the business and the community and support organisations such as Rehab. Can you tell us something about this initiative, and especially how you identified the mentors? It's particularly interesting.
Thank you, Oisín, and thank you everyone, and thank you for having me this morning. So first of all, just to introduce myself, my name is Carla Di Benedetto. So you were close enough, Oisín, not too far off. So I suppose just to self-describe, I'm a white Irish female. I'm in my mid-40s from County Clare. This morning I'm wearing my glasses and a green shirt, and I'm sitting here in my office in the Cook Medical site offices in Castletroy in Limerick. So just a little bit of background in relation to Cook Medical for anyone who may not be aware. So we are a medical device manufacturing company. We manufacture medical devices for minimally invasive therapies. We employ just over 1,000 employees here in our site in Limerick, and we're part of an American multinational company that's headquartered in Bloomington in Indiana in the US. So in Cook Medical in Limerick, we are extremely thankful that we have a diverse and inclusive workforce to support. But we really wanted to create a new initiative to help remove barriers to employment for people with disabilities in our community. So a number of years ago, we set up a working group, and this working group is made up of employees from all levels and functions across the organisation, including senior leadership. And we felt that that was quite important to have that diverse group as part of that working group to develop the project from the outset. We had, as you mentioned, Oisín, a lot of support from business in the community, and we partnered very closely with the Rehab group also. And they helped us to launch our Campus to Career program, which is a 12-week graduate program for employees with disabilities that we launched in mid-2022. So while in the planning stages of Campus to Career, we worked with business in the community for their guidance and expertise. We engaged with local organisations also to help understand their needs and to determine what would be beneficial to them, their clients, and the community. And also just to note that our internal working group included employees with experience of working personally with people with disabilities, and they brought their personal knowledge and experience to the group, which really was invaluable. So Campus to Career is a 12-week program which is open to graduates with disability, and it provides participants with mentoring, on-the-job training, and practical experience during that 12-week program to help and to provide them with the supports they require to succeed while working as valued members of our team. So like all our employees, the graduates have support from Cook with any accommodations that they may require for the duration of the program. And we also have additional supports from Rehab's team of experts, which really helps pre the program and for the duration of the program also. So each person's experience is tailored specifically for them. And in doing so, we hope to make their transition to the workplace as seamless as possible. So through Rehab, we work closely with the Access offices in a number of local colleges and universities and some national colleges and universities also. And we work with them to raise awareness about the programme and to recruit graduates for the programme. So you mentioned, Oisín, about our mentors and how we select the mentors and how we provide support to them. So in advance of the programme, new employees will have one-to-one sessions provided by a team of experts through Rehab. So they'll meet with an educational psychologist, they'll also meet with an occupational therapist, and following those meetings, an individual employment plan will be co-developed with the new employee for the 12-week period. And then Cook will select mentors from the various areas or departments that the graduates will work in or be placed in. And these mentors will work closely and to support the graduates during the 12-week programme. So some of the departments that we have placed graduates in over the last number of years have been our marketing department, finance, quality, engineering, corporate communications, HR, so a number of different departments and functions. And this has really been to suit and match the areas of courses that the graduates have completed themselves in university or in colleges. So the education psychologist will support the mentor in understanding the potential learning needs of the graduate during the 12-week placement, and the occupational therapist then will also advise on any sensory considerations or digital and assistive technology requirements or any other accommodations that the employee may need during the 12-week placement. Before the graduates begin in Cook, we provide formal training for our mentors to help ensure that they understand the needs of the graduates who will be joining for the 12-week placement. And once they join, experts from Rehab will meet with both the mentors and the graduates throughout the 12-week placement to ensure that they have the support that they need over the course of the programme. So as mentioned, we launched in June 2022. We initially took 4 graduates for the initial programme in that year. We have extended the programme over the last number of years to take on more graduates each year. And since introducing the programme, we're delighted to say that following the completion of the graduate programme, we have 4 graduates who went on to secure permanent employment with Cook and who are continuing to work with Cook today, which is fantastic. We're just about to kick off our programme for 2025, so we're linking in with Rehab again and just about to start that recruitment and awareness initiative again for 2025. So really, really looking forward to that as well. So we found it to be an extremely positive experience for us in Cook. It's amazing to see the experience of the graduates who go through the programme, and just really like to say thank you to the Irish Centre for Diversity for acknowledging the good work that we do as part of the programme. And thank you for having me here this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Carla. Some fantastic work there. I will definitely be picking your brains on parts of that for sure. I just maybe call out what you mentioned as well. Running programs like this can be so culturally enhancing for organizations. And I get that is the case for everybody in Cook Medical as well. Thank you for that. Now we shall move to our third finalist, who is joining us from I Knew a Collection, and we have Deirdre Buckley. So Deirdre, very welcome and thank you for joining us this morning. Before you introduce yourself, I'd just maybe like to ask you your question for today. So the judges were impressed with your record of 100% retention of 25 colleagues who you recruited through Down Syndrome Ireland. We know that you've run an innovative learning workbook that was co-created or designed with these colleagues, their parents, and the wider team. So I'd love to hear from you today, in particular around the role your partnership with Down Syndrome Ireland has played, and any insights you could share with us.
Great, Oisín, thank you. And thanks to everybody for all the insightful initiatives that you're running there. So my name is Deirdre Buckley. I'm the very proud director of People and Culture at the I Knew a Collection. hotel collection. We operate 14 hotels in the island of Ireland. We also have 2 bar restaurants and a coffee roastery supporting just over 1,500 colleagues across our organisation. I'm a white female. I'm joining you from my home office here in Cork, and this morning we are in our 2nd year working with the Irish Centre for Diversity, and we have silver accreditation that we are very proud of. We partnered with DSI in 2019, and their support has been instrumental in shaping our processes in recruiting and developing talent across the business. So DSI offers support to adults with Down syndrome through their National Employment Programme. They work with adults to develop work-ready skills, and they partner with businesses like ourselves to match their graduates in employment. So when we started the program in 2019, our ambition was to employ 8 graduates from the National Employment Programme in 8 of our properties. Throughout that time, we had the challenge of COVID in hospitality. However, once we reopened following the pandemic, we wanted to progress this partnership with Down syndrome because of its success in the years leading up to that. So where we are now is we have 25 permanent colleagues working with us across our hotels. Down syndrome and the employment program has really helped us to identify roles that would be suitable for colleagues with Down syndrome and would align with their strengths. So they would have supported us in the recruitment process, and on occasion their employment colleagues in Down syndrome would have attended interviews and supported colleagues through that selection process. They also, Down syndrome would have assisted us to tailor our onboarding processes and to make our onboarding into work accessible for people. So part of the program as well, and I suppose a key part for us, was that Down syndrome would support our mentors, and we would everybody working in our hotels would have a mentor, a buddy to start with. With Down syndrome, we maintain that mentor role in the hotels on a permanent basis with the colleagues. So you mentioned, Oisín, our workbook. So when we started with this program, we acknowledged everybody learns differently, and some feedback from the graduates themselves said there are certain things that we maybe need a little bit of extra help on. So everything from our clocking in system to the tasks in each role. So we've evolved that with our review process, giving feedback and getting feedback from our colleagues, which I suppose through that review process is really key in their development, and identifying areas where people want to develop and grow more skills. So I suppose overall our partnership with Down syndrome across the hotels and our experiences with 25 colleagues and growing is that we've really enriched our workplaces. We're absolutely more empathetic and inclusive, and listening to our colleagues from ESB and Cook Medical, and looking forward to hearing from the other participants on the program, we really want to continue to evolve and grow that partnership in our business heading into 2025. So thank you.
Great, Deirdre. Thank you very much. For those of us in the world of people or human resources, we're very jealous of your 100% retention, which is virtually unheard of in today's world of work. So thank you.
I think it's more credit to our graduates than to us, but we'll take it.
You're creating the right environment for success. So thank you for that. I'm now going to move on to Tony Kerwin from Circle K. Tony, you're very welcome, and thank you for representing Circle K here today. The judges were very impressed by the fact that in Circle K, you've worked across multiple different functional teams. So HR, operations, health and safety, and retail to identify how best to remove barriers for those who have disabilities working in the organization. So today we'd love to hear a little bit about you, and if you could then tell us what you're most proud of over the last year in terms of identifying and supporting diverse talent.
Thank you, Oisín, and thank you to all the previous speakers. My God, the work that's done is absolutely amazing. It's so motivational. So I'm Tony Kerwin. I'm head of HR with Circle K Ireland. I'm a white male in my 50s, today working from my home office in County Clare. So I suppose just to kick off Circle K, hopefully some or all of you will have been customers of ours, and so should know the brand. But I suppose the retail brand is obviously the most obvious. We do have a support office as well, and that's based in Clonskeagh in Dublin, with just under 200 people. And we do have terminals. So we have terminals in Galway Port and Dublin Port, where we've got teams that begin the supply chain of bringing fuel to our customers at our forecourt stations. So the Circle K business is just over 2,200 people. So that in itself, we are blessed, with 65 plus different nationalities. So in itself, we've got very diverse teams. And I suppose over the last number of years, we really began to challenge ourselves to look at a more inclusive environment, particularly with people with disabilities. Our retail settings, we've got I suppose, a very serious product with fuel. So there are lots of health and safety considerations within our stores and processes and SOPs in terms of how we conduct our business safely. So Oisín, going back to your comment around this kind of collaboration of different teams, when we're introducing and looking at how we could get better in this space, it had to be a one team approach. It had to be lots of people sitting around the table, I guess, and giving their input. So we're incredibly fortunate to be supported by a very supported leadership team and Managing Director Ciara Foxton, who absolutely believes that we could invent the change that we have done. So I suppose the teams supported by BU at Circle K Committee, which is our DE&I committee. So that naturally brings people together from different backgrounds and different perspectives. So from that committee, we have 3 pillars. One is around inclusive recruitment and sustainable employment. One is around education, that's around policy writing, our Centre for Diversity accreditation journey sitting in there to help us to learn more and self-reflect about how we're doing things at Circle K. And the third pillar is around communication and connecting. So that's where the committee sits in. So I suppose the biggest piece of working with others sat around the inclusive recruitment and sustainable employment piece. If you think about our stations, and you think about introducing people with disabilities into that environment, we had to have a very cautious approach to make sure that the environment was correct for people to come in to truly learn and feel inclusive and look at the responsibilities that we had within a retail setting, and then create accommodations for people within that setting to make sure that the experience in the environment was absolutely right for them. And we began to connect with Chime. That was the first partner that we worked with. And then from there, we had one placement. Japet was his name. He always sticks out as the first person that we learned from, as much as him learning from us, in terms of how we could truly make our make one of our retail service stations an inclusive space. Loads of learning, and I think Deirdre, you mentioned around looking at inclusive recruitment processes and looking at onboarding, and other speakers spoke about training and just even really looking at the responsibilities. What is the day job that happens within the site, and what accommodations can we make? What accommodations can we make within that environment just to make it more inclusive for people with disabilities? So we also did a lot of work around signage within a particular site to let customers know that there was somebody there with a disability. So, for example, that gentleman that I mentioned, Japet, and we set him up with a tablet so he could communicate with customers at the till. So there's accommodations, really kind of, I suppose, now that we look back on it, is really simple introductions. When you're at the beginning of that journey, I guess what you don't know what you don't know. So working together with lots of different teams has helped that. So now we kind of jump on. In 2024, we've had 40 work placements of people with disabilities across the organization. So it's so we're really proud of that number, and even so more proud of, out of that 40, 22 of those people have progressed into sustainable employment across our network of sites, which is fantastic. I've got a list. I'm going to read them out of the 8 charity partners that we now work with. So we work with Now Group, Chime, Mirasosa, the Fingal Leader Partnership, National Learning Network, St. John of God's, Festina Lata, and CARE. So they're currently the partners that we work with really, really closely to ensure that we're making it authentic for the person that's coming into the environment, upskilling our store managers and our teams to give them the tools to be able to make our workplace an inclusive environment. I think it was Deirdre said that, yeah, loads of work done, but certainly loads and loads of work to do. And we look forward to it. We're learning as we go through this as well. The Irish Centre for Diversity Accreditation journey has been instrumental in helping us to learn that. And as we connect with other companies like this, I think if we all connect and learn from each other, I think that's where absolutely sustainable change can come from. I suppose finally, you asked me what I'm most proud of. I'm most proud of the cultural change that it's had right across our organization. We're talking differently. We're looking at our business differently. We're connecting with people differently, and we're making a difference in people's lives right across the communities that we serve across Ireland. So I think that's what I'm most proud of.
Great. Tony, thank you very much for that. Just always strikes me on these how much of a team game it is, but increasingly the number of partnerships that any one company, in order to really understand how to advance, really needs to employ. So that is really very fascinating to see and hear. I think it's a common theme throughout the course of the session we've already heard this morning. I'm mindful of time and, of course, maybe not sharing this as best we could. So I will move us along to Natalie Keogh from Allianz. Good morning, Natalie.
Morning.
You are a penultimate finalist, and in the highly commended category sits Allianz. And the judges in particular, they commented around the commitment to self-ID or self-identification and the efforts that you and the team are making to support colleagues who have additional needs. The judges also reference Allianz's ongoing EDI training, collaboration with other organizations such as AHEAD and As I Am. So my question for you, Natalie, is, the strategy in Allianz very much focuses on understanding the barriers, challenges, and then putting in place the relevant support, training, and partnerships to address those needs. Is there anything you can elaborate on that? Have we assessed it correctly? I'd love to hear a little bit more.
Great. Yes, thank you for that, Oisín. So my name is Natalie, and I am a white Irish female with long brown hair. I am sitting today in my kitchen, so it is a blue background, and I am wearing a green top this morning. So my work in Allianz Ireland, I've been with Allianz for 5 years, and I am currently the DEI Wellbeing and Engagement Lead for Allianz Ireland. So as part of our work, I would say that providing an equitable workspace for all is our ultimate goal. And I would just say it's very humbling to be part of the panel again this year. This is our third year being recognised in this category, so we don't take it for granted at any stage, and it's very much a learning opportunity. And even this morning, hearing from some of the other panelists and the work that they're doing, it is very humbling indeed. So in 2020, around our strategy, we set out ambitions for our workforce along 5 DEI dimensions of gender, disability, generations, nationality and ethnicities, and LGBTQ+. In 2024, we also added social diversity as well as part of our DEI dimensions. And as mentioned, our aim is to be an employer that is empowered to hire, employ, manage and retain staff with disabilities. So what we want is an organisation and a workplace where all employees can thrive and all people can have an equitable opportunities, and creating people-centred workspaces and experiences. We've partnered with the Irish Centre of Diversity for just over two years now, and last year we were honoured to be accredited in silver for investors in diversity. So as I said, we are very much open, and our partnerships are really key to our learning and our understanding. You can't do this alone. Again, someone mentioned you don't know what you don't know. So it's really about leveraging the people with that expertise, and our partnerships are central to that. I would just like to call out that disability is both a business and a societal issue, and it can happen to anyone at any time. We do understand, and part of our strategy is to contain clear and specific ambitions and targets for our partnerships and for disability inclusion. So we are committed to providing an environment free of barriers in both our building and our workplaces, and also accessible through tools and software on our websites that are accessible for all. One thing I would like to call out is that 80% of disabilities are acquired, and usually during our working life. And we had the very unfortunate personal experience last year in November of one of our very close teammates in our HR department acquired a brain injury. He's only 41 years old with 2 children at the peak of his career, and he had a brain clot and a tear in the brainstem. So this was very challenging for us, but it makes all the work that we're doing that bit more special. So when you're talking about people with disabilities, it is not just numbers that we're dealing with. These are people with lives, and they're part of our families and part of our friendship groups, and it makes it all the more kind of personal for us this year. So I would just like to mention that. One of our key partnerships is with the Olympics and the Paralympics, and you would have seen our support for them. This year we have been in partnership with Para Ireland since 2006, since 2010. So it's making us the longest supporter of para sport in Ireland. Through our partnership, our aim is to promote greater diversity in Irish sport and showcase the amazing athletes involved in para sport. We entered into a 3-year partnership in 2021, and again we've just reignited that in 2004 as well for another 3-year with the Olympic and the Paralympic Association. So what we were there, it's really about sport and about inclusion and about people seeing themselves represented. And we had the amazing Ellen Keane as one of our brand ambassadors. Also, we work through a Move Now program highlighting sport with people with disabilities, and also our Allianz Reward Pitch Day. We leveraged our partnership with the GAA, and we invited, I think it was over 150 children to the hallowed ground of the GAA in Croke Park. And also we had a special Allianz Stars Day for children with disabilities that joined us there as well. So one of our key and fundamental partnerships I would like to talk about is with AHEAD. AHEAD are an amazing partner for us. We are entering into our 5th year now with them. We have been very honoured to be recognised as a WAM Leader Award for 4 years in a row, and hoping to go for our 5th later on this year. But we've partnered with them for just coming into our 5th year, and it is a graduate placement for people with disabilities. And what is unique about this, I think, and has been instrumental in our learning journey, is that for every onboarded graduate, we do an individual assessment. So we have learned so much from each individual. And what I would say is that putting accommodations in for one person with one type of disability is to the benefit of all of us. So we've had people coming in, and we've had support from Vision Ireland or Epilepsy Ireland. We've had people come in with narcolepsy, and everything that we learn and every accommodation that we put in is, as I said, it's for the benefit for the entire employee population. Also, one of our main contributions and partners is the wonderful As I Am. I can't say enough about them. They have been so kind, and again, they have brought us on a journey over the past 2.5 years. We're part of their communities in practice. This is a really safe working group. We were very happy and honoured to have them on our premises last year. We had our first in-person communities in practice, and we hosted that in Alliance Ireland. Some of the accommodations and some of the learnings, we've gone through training and awareness with our employee base and our manager base. We've also drawn up a charter of inclusion. We put in a sensory room and sensory maps. And again, some of this all sounds quite overwhelming. And I know when I listen to other panelists, it's like, oh my God, they're amazing. But sometimes it's the smallest, and it's not the fundamental big changes, although they are important, that can have such an enriching and inclusion focus for individuals. And we made some adaptations to, although we were wheelchair friendly, we actually had a member of the team join us, and they had a motorized wheelchair. So what we learned is that because of some of our fire doors, so it's very practical things that they needed to be updated and changed. So as I said, it's every day is a learning. We're certainly not at the end of our journey, and there's more to learn, and that's why I think these sessions are invaluable. But what we do know is that we are trying to embrace all aspects of inclusion around disability, and it is one of the most important aspects to our employee base, and we consistently score in terms of engagement and people's satisfaction around diversity and inclusion. So it's something we're immensely proud of.
Great. Natalie, thank you so much. Clearly a multitude of different initiatives happening at the same time that most definitely put you in the highly commended category. But thank you for that, and also for sharing the personal circumstance around your team. Hopefully your colleague is improving. We leave the best to last, quite literally. So today I'm the pleasure of introducing to us Narcissa Popovici from Ora Houlihan Group, who are the winners of the Advancing Disability Award this year. Hopefully you've had a great couple of weeks celebrating the win, but I really welcome you here, Narcissa, to share with us a couple of insights on your programme. A couple of call-outs. You know, the judges, amongst many things, were hugely impressed by the way in which you're creating tangible employment opportunities for those with disabilities. In particular, the judges referenced an interview they held with a swimming coach whose pride and dedication to her work was an inspiration. But Narcissa, you might just tell us a little bit about your strategy around disability inclusion and what you're most proud of at this time.
Thank you, Oisín, and good morning, everyone. My name is Narcissa. I'm the HR Director at Ora Houlihan Group. For anyone who maybe hasn't heard of Ora, we are an Irish-owned company. We're the largest leisure operator in the country, managing 12 leisure centres all over Ireland. We also operate 5 Anytime Fitness franchise clubs in Ireland, and we employ approximately 450 employees across our centres. Just a bit about myself to self-describe. I'm a white woman. I identify as she, her. I have dark brown hair, tied up. I have glasses, and today I'm wearing a lilac top. I'm joining you today from my home office, and I have a blurred backdrop behind me. suppose first of all, it's amazing to hear all the inclusive initiatives from the finalists in this category, and to see the advancing disability business case being promoted. We're so honored and proud to be named as the winners, as this particular area is very close to our heart. But we do believe that all the businesses who invest in this area are truly winners. This is the first year that we applied for a Diversity and Inclusion National Award. As a company, we only started our journey for certification with the Irish Centre for Diversity in 2023, when we were awarded the bronze certification. In 2024, we applied for the silver award, and we're really happy that we received that as well. So we will be continuing our work in the next year and applying for the gold award as well. Our partnership with the Irish Centre for Diversity has been very beneficial for us and for our teams in the last 2 years. In terms of our strategic approach to D&I and disability inclusion, this is very much built around 3 pillars. It's about incorporating disability inclusion consideration within all aspects of the employee experience. But it's also long-term investment for us as a company, and awareness and advocacy. For us, it is a lived employee experience. From employing people with disabilities, working with local disability groups, investing in software to drive transparency, inclusion, accountability, to earning the trust of our employees through our inclusive practices and policies, for them to disclose a disability and really listening to them and understanding the individual challenges. And it's very much about us living by one of our values, which is we are in this together. In terms of investment and in disability inclusion and awareness, we very much believe this is imperative for the business to drive innovation. We have various training programs for our managers and employees through our internal training systems and our external partners, DCM, which really aim to educate people to how to support a colleague or a customer who has a disability. For us, disability inclusion is more about the ability, and it is a story, and we have so many stories. So she said we shared one of our stories as part of the interview. Katie is one of our swim teachers in a centre in Tullamore. Katie has been working for the past few years to get her swim teacher level 2 qualification. She is the first person living with Down syndrome in Ireland to achieve this qualification and to teach swim lessons on her own. So we do have development and mentorship programs. One of them is called Aspire. And we encourage our people who live with a disability, I suppose, to learn and grow their career in the direction that's right for them. Kate is one of the examples. She's constantly wants to develop. We have other employees the same who want to develop in various areas of the business, and we have been supporting them in the last years. But we have other employees who live with a disability who are not focused on progression. What's more important for them is maybe consistency or routine in their job, being part of the team, and we ensure that is maintained as well. Under the social corporate responsibility umbrella, the company has partnered and sponsored groups and charities, both at central level and in the local communities where we operate in, because these organizations really do tremendous work in the area. Advocacy is really important for us in promoting employment for people with disabilities in the leisure and fitness industries. We are very proud to participate in a research program conducted by a graduate of IT Tralee in collaboration with UNESCO Chair to develop an apprenticeship framework to enable people living with disabilities to gain employment in the fitness sector. The vast majority of our roles require very specific skills and industry-related qualifications, and it can be challenging for people with disabilities to gain employment in general in the industry. And part of the research program included interviews with some of our employees living with the disability, with their mentors, and with the Swim Academy and Training Academy tutors. Throughout the years, we've also participated in and we won Ability Awards. And our CEO has always been a leader who influenced others in the sector. We believe that's really important as part of the advocacy. He was a consultant in the Department of Sport and developed a grant program to improve access to sport facilities, particularly pools, which continues. In the events part of the business, he brought the entertainment industry leaders together and developed a voluntary code of practice to improve access for services and services for people with disabilities, in particular at concerts and festivals in Ireland. He recently spoke in the European Parliament and at Congress in Melbourne last year about the culture of inclusion and access when it comes to disability. He's on the board of disability organizations such as the Wheelchair Organization Advisory Board, which ORA also supports as a charity. We have also been recognized as a great place to work for the last 7 years. We're very proud of that. And as part of Great Places to Work, on our D&I score in the survey completed by our employees is always very high, which for us is a testament that every day we strive to build that culture that is inclusive, where people feel that are welcomed, where they belong, where they can develop. So we can build the best workplace, but also business for everyone. I suppose in terms of what we're most proud of, I think is very much the amazing work of our teams in all the centres across the country in promoting the disability inclusion, not just for employees, but also for the customers we serve and disability groups in our communities. And very much the powerful impact that these initiatives that are mostly developed with the support of our employees who have disabilities or who have family members with a disability have on the community. Some of these initiatives that we promoted in the last years are Down Syndrome Louth Mead Branch Initiative. So Down Syndrome Louth initiatives was implemented in one of our centres in Ora Trim. It was piloted back in 2022 and continued successfully since then. As part of the program, with support from colleagues, one of our colleagues who herself has a disability, developed and delivers regular aquarobic classes to a group of teenagers and young adults living with Down syndrome. Another initiative is volunteering for Special Olympics coaching and provision of training facilities, autism-friendly initiatives to help others understand how ORA is an inclusive an inclusive facility available to all customers, and they come from informational videos to autism-friendly gym hours, sensory swim lessons, inclusive training for our staff in collaboration with sports partnerships, and becoming champions for Trim Autism Friendly Town project.
Great. Narcissa, I feel like, first and foremost, thank you so much for these great insights. I'm mindful of time, and there's so much that we could and should cover today, and the great work. Obviously, a very worthy winner here. So thank you for that update. I am, however, mindful of time. We've probably overrun already slightly. But again, a big congratulations to you for all the work that has been done. Some great leadership demonstrated today, not only in the Orahulan group, but right across all of the organizations in this category. So really a big thank you. James, I know you had intended to wrap up. I'm happy to do that for you now in
No
the
problem
interest
at all.
of time. But I really appreciate everybody joining us today. The value is in the learning. You know, and as suggested earlier, let's continue to connect either on LinkedIn or whatever the preferred format is. But great to learn from you all today. And once again, a big congratulations to our winning organization, Orahulan Group.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.